This video will show you how to replace the center parking brake cable on a GMC Sierra 2500. This will be mounted along the driver's side of your frame. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Safely make your way under the driver's side of your vehicle. Looking along the outside of the frame is where we can see the cable we're replacing. Now we're going to follow the cable straight rearward. We can see the rearward mounting point, but let's continue past that. In this area, we can see our adjustment point. This is where we'll start. Now, as far as this area, you do want to make sure you've cleaned the threads and applied some penetrant. We're going to be using a 10 millimeter to turn this counterclockwise, bringing the mounting nut further down the threaded area. That's going to loosen up the pressure on our line so we can start the removal. To help prevent this from spinning on us, if you make your way further down the line, you're going to find an area that you can grab onto, either using a 1/4-inch wrench or you can use some locking pliers. I'm going to use locking pliers, it'll give me a little bit more leverage. Now that I have that on there, we'll continue on with our 10 millimeter ratcheting wrench. We're going to bring this down towards the end of the threading. You should not have to fully remove it. That's going to give us plenty of slack to start removing that cable. Okay. Now I'm going to leave my pliers in place. We're going to pause at the adjustment point. Let's make our way forward. In this area, we're going to start removing our metal clip from our rearward cable. Now to remove the cable from the locking clip, there is a specialty tool that you can use, but not everybody necessarily has that. So I'm going to continue on with a couple sets of pliers. I'll use one set of locking pliers, and then my second set of pliers I'm going to grab onto the opposite side and I'm going to attempt to try to spread this area. Once we have it spread far enough, we should be able to move the cables and separate them. I want to make sure this is nice and tight. Keep trying until this comes apart. Okay, I can see it's starting to separate, but it is actually starting to fall apart. Along the back side here, this is what we want. Now I'm just going to make my way up in the center. We'll continue on with the spreading process. Now, as you can tell, I spread the clip, the cable came out, and it is not damaged in any way. This is exactly what we're looking for. At this point, we're done back here. Let's make our way to the forward portion of the cable. We're going to repeat this exact same process. Now, as we move forward to our forward locking clip, I'm going to mention that you want to be extremely careful not to cause any damage to the cable that we are not planning on replacing. Tell the outer portion separated. Let's make our way towards the center. Okay, that pulls right out of there. A thorough inspection of that cable. Now, as we start sliding the cable out, you're going to find that you have 3 brackets that it goes through. Each one of these will look the same, and during the installation, the cable is going to go through each one of those. There it is, friend. Now, we did give each one of our two cables a quick inspection, but of course we need a thorough inspection. So I'm going to be using a piece of fine sandpaper. We're going to clean down the end here and confirm that nothing's rotted, weak, or damaged. If it is, you have to go ahead and replace that cable. The forward cable looks good. I'm going to go to the rear, repeat this process, and then let's continue on with our installation. After a thorough inspection of both of those cables, it's time for the installation of our center intermediate brake cable. As far as this cable, as I mentioned during the removal process, it has to make its way through each one of its mounting points, making its way down along the side of the frame. When you're looking at the cable, it really doesn't matter which side you decide to bring towards the rear or the front. Both will look the same. At this point, we're going to start latching these two together. When I bring this in, I'm going to take the end of the front cable and slide it through the larger diameter port on the locking clip. Once we have that slid into position, we want to try pulling the two cables away from each other, locking this into the proper position. We want to double check to make sure that that's properly secured. You can use some pliers on the end here and the end there and gently squeeze to double check. Now that's exactly what we want to see. On the back side, we'll slide this into position as well. Of course, we need to make sure it's locked into the proper positioning. Once again, squeeze it with pliers if necessary. Perfect. Now, before you make your way back to the adjustment point, the next thing that you would want to do would be to make sure that each one of your parking brake shoes is properly adjusted. That's done behind each of your rear wheels. After that, you're making your way back here to make your adjustment. Now, I can see a lot of the threaded portion of my hardware here, so I'm just going to use some anti-seize. Continuing on, we're going to adjust our mounting nut all the way down till it bottoms out against here. Okay, let's check this. Now, it's important to make our proper adjustment at this point. A quick note about this is we need to adjust it so the cable's not hanging down and potentially getting damaged. But we also want to make sure that when you're inside of the vehicle and you're applying the parking brake, it only goes approximately halfway before it starts activating your parking brake. We don't want to have it activate right away or push the pedal all the way down to the floor and it doesn't function at all. If you press down and you feel it goes too far down, make your adjustment here, tightening. If you find that it's too tight and it really doesn't press the pedal down before the emergency brake actuates, you need to loosen this. Now that I've made my final adjustment, I'm going to remove my locking pliers from my cable. Now we'll just double check each one of our mounting points along the rear and of course along the front, and we can make our way out from under the vehicle. Now in the passenger compartment, we're going to test the functionality of our emergency brake. For this, I'm pressing the lever down. As you can tell, it goes down approximately halfway. This is exactly what we need to see. Once you've done that, you want to make sure you're in a safe area. You're going to go ahead and turn on the vehicle. You're going to hold your foot on the brake, put it in drive. Go ahead and release the brake pedal and confirm the vehicle does not roll. After that, just go ahead and press on the brake pedal again. You're going to put it in reverse. Repeat this process. Once you've completed all that, make sure you end in park, turn off the vehicle, and release your parking brake. Perfect. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.